How did I start and build my company and within 49 months sell it for a sum greater than $10 million? It wasn't a fluke. I've started and sold multiple businesses for 6, 7, and 8 figures throughout my career, and today I'm going to tell you how. Friends, when I began building my company intentionally for an 8-figure sale, I knew there were 5 critical stages that I had to work through and to drive my company to that value. Whether or not you know it, you're in one of these stages right now. But the problem is, most people don't have the guidance they need to navigate through these stages, and instead they end up failing miserably and never experience a 7, 8, or 9-figure exit. I mean, think about it. How many people do you actually know who have built an 8-figure business? Not many. And that's because no one is teaching them how to get to the next stage. So, how did I build a $10 million plus company from nothing in just 49 months? Friends, that's exactly what I'm going to share with you today. So let's walk through each of these stages in building an 8-figure business. Let's dive in. The first stage is the launch. The launch is a very fun stage. It's where there's a lot of awe and a lot of excitement. You're trying to establish the business idea. You're trying to clarify your vision and your mission. You're developing your initial product or service. Candidly, friends, this is where I'm at right now, relaunching Financially Simple. As you might remember, I sold it years ago for 7 figures and I obtained it back. And now we're in this relaunch stage. I'm building a core team. I'm setting up basic operational processes at this phase. But the problem is in this phase is we're trying to validate our product. We're trying to understand what exactly the market wants. Many times in this stage, business owners don't have the adequate funding or the resources, whether it be time, they're trying to work a part-time job or a full-time job while they start a business, or they just don't have enough money. The bank won't loan them money or they don't have access to capital. And they're trying to figure out the roles and responsibility for themselves and if they have team members, the team involved. This is a very common problem, but there are some solutions. The solution is at this stage, you've got to focus on market research and validation of your business ideas. You can do this through surveys. You can do it through talking, by joining groups, by joining venues. You can secure significant funding through investments, through loans, through bootstrapping, through crowdsourcing. You can define clear roles, responsibilities, and communication channels. At this very phase, I was able to secure financing. Now we're actually developing the product. We're looking at it through the lens of our potential customers. We're doing the market research. We're paying coaches. I actually have 4 coaches right now who's helping me develop the market, the product, and everything for the right market. We're defining our roles. We have a team together and we're working through the roles. Now, each of us are wearing different hats right now, but we're working through our roles to the ultimate destination. So what can you do? Man, utilize some surveys, some focus groups. Look towards your industry for market analysis or market validation. You can seek funding. Funding is a big deal, friends. So many businesses fail because they don't have enough capital. Seek funding from banks, from investors, from crowdsourcing, from family, from friends. Create organizational charts. How is your company going to operate in this phase? What are the job descriptions for each of your team members? And then you got to conduct regular team meetings. We're doing this. We meet weekly as a collective to walk through that activities that we won on last week and that we're winning on this week. This launch stage, it is exciting, but the very things that you set in motion now will propel you to the next stage, which is the rapid growth stage. Man, I love the rapid growth stage. It's in this stage that you're experiencing a high demand and sales growth. People are starting to talk about your company. Your sales are just sailing off. Your operations are just, they're just moving at a rapid pace, almost like that V8 engine in your hot rod. It's just zinging, right? You're hiring employees. You're expanding market research. This stage of business is fun. It is a lot of fun, but there's some problems. There's some problems if you're not careful you're going to run into in this stage. And that is now you're straining your resources and your infrastructure due to rapid expansion. Oftentimes you're making sales and you're spending money, but the revenue's not there. You'd find yourself not having enough money. Man, I remember back in COVID, we were leaning into business consulting and business owners had their businesses shut down, but yet they still had to work. They were still having to keep the business afloat, even though they weren't seeing patients or customers or clients. They were still having to pay their employees. That's very similar in this phase of business. You're out working, but yet the money is not quite following. There's not enough time. As you're rapidly growing, you're starting to see your calendar filled up, and you find yourself working 80 hours, 90 hours. Your team is feeling it. Your team is doing multiple tasks, things that they were never hired to do. This is what's happening in this rapid growth stage. But there are some solutions. I knew I was going to build an 8-figure company. That was the intention. So I began investing in scalable technologies. I began building robust quality control and processes. We began building operational throughput processes. We began tracking down every particular workflow that we needed within the company. We were monitoring the cash closely, and I was hiring the best people I could possibly afford. Now, on that particular thing, Emily and I got in a little tiff one day. All right, those of you know, my wife's Emily. And I remember this particular person that I hired, I paid them more than I was paying myself. And I came home and I said, yes, they're going to work with us. I can't wait. They have the talent and expertise we need in order to drive our company to the next level. She said, cool, how much you paying them? I told her, and she just looked at me like, what? Seriously? They're making more than you're making. I remember that conversation like it was yesterday, friends. It was during this rapid growth phase that I began setting the precedents for the future of our company. So what can you do if you find yourself in this phase? Upgrade your systems, your processes, build efficiency and scalability, train your employees on the quality standard and the customer service level that you desire. Use financial software and other softwares in order to set processes and management in place. Now, friends, the final stage that we're coming to, it was so important for me and my business success, and you don't want to miss it. But we first have to talk about a dangerous stage, and that is this. This stage, man, friends, you can't stay here long. You've got to get out of the stage. It's called the stabilized growth stage. You're like, that doesn't sound bad, Justin. I didn't think so either. I can remember at this point, I'd hired my first business coach. The business was moving, I was tired, and I had to have somebody who could challenge me. And I hired this coach, and I paid him 6 figures, friends. I mean, this coach was making some money. They were in my life. They were helping me in my business. And I remember specifically this coach says, you're in a dangerous phase of your business right now, Justin. You've got to get out of this business phase as fast as possible. And it didn't make sense to me. Why? Well, because in this phase, we had consistent sales. We had market presence. I could look at my bank account and there was money. My team was getting paid. We were profitable. We had customer loyalty and we had repeat business. And at this point, you're like, dude, that doesn't sound like a bad place to be. Here's the problem. Oftentimes we experience market saturation. Oftentimes at this point, competition begins to creep in. Oftentimes the leader becomes complacent. They become stagnant. They begin to decline. They sit back and they just take a breath, right? Just take a breath. And then customers begin to churn. And then you start to see your satisfaction levels decline. This is what happened in my own business, friends. During this phase, I began watching the conversations amongst the team turn a little bit more toxic than I ever desired. I began watching long-term clients leave because I just wasn't as motivated. I didn't have this spark that I have in my life. And I began getting complacent. I was tired, to be candid with you. So what are the solutions to not stay here? You've got to begin differentiating your products or services from that of your competition. That means you have to innovate consistently. You got to focus on customer retention. Whereas before you were marketing externally, now you've got to begin marketing internally. You've got to improve your customer experience. What can you do for them that they never paid you to do? This is the phase that we're in at this point. So if you find yourself in this stage that you feel like you've arrived, that you've stabilized growth, let me challenge you. Now begin conducting regular market analysis. Look at your competition more so than ever. Look at your competition through the lens of an investor. Would you buy their business? Why? Why not? You want to begin implementing customer feedback loops and loyalty programs. Why is that customer with you? What is holding them there? And then lean into that. You want to explore partnerships, perhaps new distribution points, channels for additional profitability or growth opportunities. So stage 4 is my jam. This is the area that I love. It is the value creation stage. The value creation stage is what sets you apart from your competition. It is in this stage that I learned how to move my life to decamillionaire status before the age of 40. It is in this stage, friends, if you hammer down, if you get to this stage, that you can change your life for the rest of your life. So what are the characteristics of this stage? A business owner who finds himself in this stage starts learning concepts like maximizing normalized profitability. They began looking at their balance sheet to say, hey, how can I optimize these assets? Do I need to add additional assets to my balance sheet to help my value increase? Do I need to enhance the brand or my market positioning? Do I need to now exploring some strategic partnerships, acquiring other companies, or perhaps launching a new venture? In my own life, friends, I had one company, Heritage Investors, which was an investment advisory company, teaching clients how to manage their life and finances. And then I launched a education portal, and then I launched a business consulting portal. And I fell in love with the business consulting portal because I was teaching people exactly what I had learned the last 30 years. It was so much fun, friends, because I got to see business owners that I was coaching. They were changing their lives. They had the opportunity to have 8-figure exits. It was wild. But in this phase, there are some common problems. There are some problems that I experienced, and there are some problems that you will experience in this phase. And that is this. During the value creation phase, it's a different set of skills needed than that of the previous 3 stages. During the growth stage, most business owners have books written around there. They can talk about it. But in the value creation stage, it's a very hyper-niched area. It's an area where there's just not that much content written about how to increase the value of a company. So we have to have a different set of skills. That's a problem. We start looking at scalability versus growth, and there's a misunderstanding between the two. There's a decline in market relevance. Oh, man, I remember this. I remember heading into value creation and then watching some of my market share diminish, and I panicked. Dude, I just worked for this many months, in my case, months, to get to this point. And now within a few weeks, few months, half a year, I've taken 2 steps back. This ain't good. It's this common problem that we don't understand what is happening in the valuation of our company through these activities. It begins to expose operational inefficiencies that impact profitability. Your team begins to get confused, and there's anxiety that kicks in for you personally as the business owner. There's a lot of problems that if you're not careful, you'll never navigate to or through this stage. So what are the solutions? What I looked at is I began simplifying. I simplified everything. I simplified processes. I simplified product offerings. I simplified pricing. I simplified roles. I simplified as much as possible. And through simplification, the business value exploded. I began focusing on building my brand, my marketing, addressing our current customers in a way that we had never seen before. Why? Because I knew that the next phase, which we're coming to, I knew the next phase was going to require loyalty from these individuals. I began streamlining operations and optimizing the supply chain from where we were getting product to what we were delivering to our customers. I began building key retention plans for employees. Friends, the value creation phase is magical. It was so much fun for me. It was also a little bit of a headache. Now, you may say, Justin, I'm there, man. I'm there. I want to grow the value of my company. That's awesome. What can you do today? First thing I'm going to challenge you with is do what I did. Hire a coach. Hire somebody who's an expert in this area. Friends, I paid my coach 6 figures. And when you think about it, if I'm building a business that is 8 figures in value, for me to pay 2, 3, 4, 500,000 over a period of 3, 4 years, that's pennies compared to the outcome that I achieved. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is get somebody who is an expert in this area. Hire a value creation expert. And then you're going to have to allocate resources to research and development. You're going to have to allocate dollars, time, key employees to help you drive forward as you begin implementing the research that the coach is going to bring or that you're going to see within the marketplace. You're going to develop comprehensive written processes. For example, you're going to have a marketing plan, a hiring plan, a financial review plan. There's going to be so many different written processes that you're going to develop during this value creation stage. You're going to implement strategies like lean methodologies. You're going to implement strategies like value acceleration methodologies, which is one that helped me in my life. This value creation phase, friends, is powerful. So we've gone through 4 different phases, and we've seen some positive results. And now you're in this value creation phase and you're like, dude, I'm ready for the last stage. I'm ready for this last stage in this business journey. This is where my life changed. Once I understood this last phase, my life changed for the rest of my life. You can do the same, and that is the exit. See, when you're in value creation, you're creating an asset that becomes noticeable to others. You're creating an asset that provides a high income, high profitability with lower company-specific risk. So for my case, whenever I saw the numbers, it was like, brother, holy cow. Yeah, I'll take a 10-figure exit now at the age of 40-ish. I'll take that. Take a highly illiquid asset off the table in my 40s, put it in my pocket, and then take a little bit of a breather and go and launch again. I'll do that in a heartbeat. Now, maybe you don't have the exact same methodology, but maybe you say, Justin, I want to go out and take some chips off the table. Maybe you've said that statement before. Or maybe I want to go out and get a partner to come alongside so I can grow it to the next level. So this last stage is all about bringing your business to the point where you can have conversations around a sale, a merger, or perhaps even an IPO. In this phase, you begin thinking about succession planning or exit planning. How am I going to move this business to whomever you want to move it to a key employee, to your children, to an outside strategic partner. Maybe you want to take it to an IPO. How are you going to do that? And in this phase, you begin thinking about legal documents like never before and financial compliance equations like never before. But there's some problems here. The problem in this phase that many people reach is they don't follow through the process and they get to the point to where they're tired and like, I'm just going to sell the stupid thing. And then they end up having unrealistic expectations on their valuation. In my case, I didn't have that. I had the opposite. I can remember when Emily was sick and I was thinking about, man, I've been a business owner for 30 years. The business is in the value creation stage. I wonder if somebody would be interested in this. Maybe take some chips off the table. And my coach said, Justin, what's your number? I told him my number, and he literally leaned back in his chair. He got this like grin on his face, like, seriously, that's it? I'm like, yeah, man, that's it. And it was like this moment that was oh so real to me. He's like, dude, you passed that number a year ago. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you've doubled that number in the last year. Your business is roughly worth this today. Like, dude, there's no way. I'm the exit planning expert. I have all these awards nationally. I know what my company is worth. And he's like, no, man, you missed it. You built a dynamic business. Man, I hope one day you can say that. I hope one day you can say, I thought my business was worth $1, ended up being worth $3 or whatever your numbers are. No doubt, though, most people will come to the time when they're ready to exit because of necessity or opportunity, and they come to the table and they say, my business I thought was worth $3 is only worth 75 cents. The problem is we often have unrealistic expectations in relation to our value. We don't have succession planning in place. We've not built a transition strategy. We don't have the proper legal and financial processes in place, and they can end up causing problems. I'll tell you a real life case. I had a client that hired us, and I noticed some problems. He had a C corporation, and he was trying to do an asset sale. This was going to cause double taxation. His CPA was in the room with us, and I said, hey, you're trying to sell now. You're hiring me to help you get through this process, but you're not ready to sell, man. You need to wait like a year or 2, 3, or 4, or 5, and let's hammer down and let's build the value a little bit more before you exit. If not, you're going to have double taxation here because of the entity structure. Their CPA knew this. Their attorney knew this. The business owner had been told this before, but nonetheless, here we are. They had not prepared properly. So friends, there are some solutions that you can deal with if you find yourself in the exit planning stage. This is what I did. You can hire the proper advisors. Hire the proper experienced advisors. Advisors who have gone through this process, not just once, like you perhaps will, not just twice, that maybe you perhaps will, but people who have guided clients through this process hundreds of times. This is all they do. Friends, it's not going to be your current advisor, your current bookkeeper, your current CPA, your current attorney. Your current team is probably not equipped to properly negotiate you through this phase of business. So you want to hire the proper advisors, and you want to listen to the proper advisors. You know, one of the problems I often see with people, especially us business owners, is we hire an advisor, we hire a coach, they tell us something we don't like, and then we don't do it. Reality is we probably should be doing the very thing that we don't like, because the very thing that we don't like is the thing that will set us free to move to the next level. So my challenge to you is hire the right team. Make sure all your contracts, your license, your agreements are up to date and compliant. Friends, these 5 stages is a journey. It is a fun journey if you know the rules for each stage. Friends, what a journey it has been for me. I've enjoyed all 5 stages. I know the stages well. I know that there is a process to guide us through each of these stages. I know that I launched a company from scratch and within 49 months exited it for over 8 figures. What I also know is you can do the same. you can go out and apply the strategies that we spoke about today, and you could experience your own 7, 8, maybe even a 9-figure exit. However, applying these strategies will only work if you have an absolute crystal clear vision for your life and your business. Now, luckily, I've created this video walking through the exact framework you need to create the vision and, more importantly, achieve it. Until next time, friends, y'all go out and make it a great day.